Oh my gosh, the very first time someone mentioned boondocking to me, I was confused. What were they talking about? Camping off grid? Camping without hookups? What? Where and how? But in the past 3 years, I've been lucky enough to have some really epic boondocking experiences. So let me break down boondocking for you because I want you to experience these extraordinary adventures too. Boondocking is all about embracing the call of the wild and experiencing nature up close and personal. Okay, that's how boondocking makes me feel. And I think you'll agree the first time you try to go boondocking too. It's the ultimate escape from the crowds, taking you to unforgettable places. But here's what you need to know. RV boondocking is free camping outside of designated campgrounds on public lands. And it's also known as dispersed camping. Basically, boondocking is RV camping off the beaten path without hookups. You won't have water, sewer, or electric hookups, so you must be self-contained. I'm gonna dive into how to do just that so you're prepared, and it's easier than you think. But first, it's critical that we discuss why and how the size of an RV can significantly impact your boondocking experience. But real quick, if you're new here, hi, I'm Randy, and every Thursday I help you make big memories in small campers. Remember I said boondocking is RV camping off the beaten path on public lands? Well, many of these impressive locations require you to drive down unexpected rough roads and narrow roads. And I learned that sometimes you're gonna run into obstacles along the way. Like the time my husband and I ran into a tree that was down on the road. And we had to back up our camper for over a mile. Thank goodness my husband was driving, because at that time, and probably now, there's no way I would have been able to back up that camper like he did. But I have to be honest, traveling to the unknown is part of the adventure. The bottom line is, smaller RVs like vans and Class Bs and small travel trailers can maneuver on these roads and into tight spots much easier than a large RV can. My little guy Max trailer has an overall length of 21 feet, and there have only been a few situations where it was just too big to maneuver around trees and other obstacles and travel down some of these roads. Yup, this Lake Superior waterfront boondocking spot was one of my favorites, but things did get a little hairy. So once again, thank goodness my husband Tom was driving and I wasn't. Now, I'm not saying large RVs are not good for boondocking, because there are boondocking spots that they can get to. But ultimately, the size of your RV or trailer can greatly enhance or restrict your boondocking opportunities. Okay, now let's talk about how to survive and manage without water, sewer, and electric hookups. Not only are you gonna not have water hookups, but it's highly unlikely that you're gonna have access to any water supply at all. So it's important that you fill your fresh water tank before you get to your boondocking location. But the most critical aspect of boondocking without water hookups is the size of your fresh water tank. Your fresh water tank is the tank you use to store water for showering, cooking, cleaning, and drinking. So the bigger your tank is, the longer you can go without running out of water. If you've never boondocked before, you probably haven't been too concerned about the size of your fresh water tank. But when you start to plan boondocking, the sizes of your tanks become very important. Do you know how much water your fresh water tank can hold? Let me know. So it's no surprise that when you're boondocking, water conservation is key. But you'd be surprised how easy it is to make the most of your water supply when you're mindful of your usage. And after you've boondocked just a couple of times, you'll get a really good feel for how long the water in your freshwater tank is going to last you. Before we talk about boondocking without sewer hookups, I've got 5 additional tips that I want to share with you about boondocking without water hookups. Tip number 1. Fill your fresh water tank as close to your boondocking location as possible. This way, you won't be carrying the extra weight of a full tank of water for long distances. Tip number 2, carry extra drinking water with you. I bring water bottles for drinking, plus my camper doesn't have a water filter because I'm always skeptical about drinking water that I filled up my tank with at a dump station, even if it says the water's potable. That's just me. Tip number 3, carry extra water in a jerry can if you think you're gonna run out of water. Tip number 4, use paper plates and silverware so you don't have to use water to do the dishes. And I prefer using the ones that are biodegradable. Tip number 5, showering probably consumes the most water, so use wipes to bathe. Not only will you not have sewer hookups, but there also won't be a dump station at your boondocking location. So you also need to know the size of your gray water tank, the tank that holds the water from your sink and your shower, and you need to monitor this tank. But the size of your black tank is probably the most critical because it holds the waste from your toilet, and you don't want that tank to overfill. For a reference, the black tank on my little guy Max is 9 gallons. And when there are 2 of us, we can go 3 or maybe 4 days before we need to dump that tank. Around day 3, I start to keep an eye on how full the tank is getting. But my black tank monitor doesn't give me an accurate reading of just how full my black tank is. And I've heard that this is pretty common. So I learned the best way to see just how full my black tank is to open the toilet and just look down. Bah! I have 2 extra tips for you about boondocking without sewer hookups. Tip number 1, always remember to dispose of your black and your gray tank responsibly at a designated dump station. Tip number 2, always make sure that before you set off for your boondocking trip that both your black and your gray tanks are empty. Boondocking without electric hookups was the thing that I thought would be the most difficult to do. Is this your biggest boondocking concern too? Or what do you think is or will be the most challenging thing for you about boondocking? I'm curious, let me know. But I have to tell you, boondocking without electric hookups has been much easier than I thought it was gonna be. The first thing that you need to know is that your RV battery will last a little while when you're not hooked up to electricity and when you're conscientious about what you're using it for. I primarily use it to power my inside lights. You need to monitor your RV battery level and don't let it discharge any lower than the battery manufacturer recommends. I'll never forget the time I was boondocking and I drained my RV battery because I wasn't monitoring it. And I learned the hard way that this can ruin your RV battery. So don't let this happen to you. For example, lead acid batteries should typically never be discharged lower than 50%. Otherwise, you're gonna ruin the battery. So the big question that everybody asks me is, how long will my battery last when I'm boondocking? And the answer is, it depends. How long your RV battery is gonna last is gonna be different than mine because it depends on the battery that you have and how much power you use based on your usage. And again, after the first time you go boondocking, you're gonna get a feel for how long it's gonna last. One of my all-time favorite RV accessories that I bring with me every time I go boondocking is my Jackery. It's a portable power station that I use to charge my devices. Basically, I use it to power and charge everything that I'd normally plug in to my trailer when I do have electric hookups. Also, solar panels are a game changer for boondocking. They convert sunlight into electricity, so they can help keep you powered up for longer. But if your RV doesn't have solar panels, you can buy portable ones. Talking about solar panels, Jackery also has solar panels that I connect to my Jackery. It's so easy to use and it just gives me extra peace of mind. I love my Jackery. If you want to learn more about the Jackery that I use, I'll leave my Amazon affiliate link in the video description below. That way it's going to be easy for you to find it. Now, between the solar panels on my little guy Max and my Jackery, I've never been without enough power when I'm boondocking, even if it's been for a week or 2. Now, keep in mind that my refrigerator is a 3-way fridge, so I can run my refrigerator off propane when I'm boondocking. And I'm not able to do things like run my air conditioner. So I also have a battery-powered fan that I use to help keep me cooler on those hot summer nights. It was surprising to me just how easy it is to stay comfortable without electric hookups. Another power source that boondockers use is a generator. It's not as eco-friendly as solar panels, and it does require gasoline to use it, but it can provide a power boost when and if you need it. I gotta tell you, it's been so freeing for me that I know that I don't have to rely on electric hookups because I can virtually go anywhere. In addition to boondocking, there are so many primitive campgrounds that don't have any hookups. And some of these have been really amazing places to camp. Next, I have 3 more tips for you, and then I'm gonna share with you how to find those epic places to go boondocking. But first, if you have any questions about boondocking, just ask it in the comment section below. Or if you have a boondocking tip, please also share it in the comment section below. I'm not an expert, so this way we can all learn from each other. And this community is the best. Okay, tip number 1. Make sure that your RV battery is fully charged before you go. If you start off with a battery that's only half full, then you're gonna start off with a big disadvantage. Tip number 2. Also make sure that your propane tanks are full before you go. If your refrigerator can also run off of propane, you're gonna go through more propane than you would if you had electric hookups. Tip number 3, if you're relying on the solar panels located on the roof of your RV, park under trees whenever possible. The trees will block the sun, and without the sun, the solar panels can't provide you with any power. Now you're ready to go boondocking, right? So now you need to know how to find those epic boondocking places. Everything you need to know about how to find the best boondocking spots and places to camp for free is in this video right up here. So click on this video now, and I can't wait to see you over in this video next. And of course, like always, I can't wait to see you next Thursday. That's a wrap.